Violent crime in the capital city has been skyrocketing. Close to 90 people have been shot in Albany so far this year, compared to just 24 in the first 7 months of 2019.
News Channel 13's Jacquie Slater set out to investigate what it's like to be a police officer right now as tensions rise and conflicts escalate. Our camera was rolling out what would turn out to be one of the most violent nights in the city recently. Jacquie, good evening.
Sabrina, Jim, people say there's a disconnect between the community and the officers that serve them. And I've talked extensively with the chief of police and other city officials about the belief that recruiting more officers of color, people already familiar with Albany, could help bridge the gap and lower crime rates. I rode along with Jahmale Dickson, who was featured as a News Channel 13 Kid Who Cares back in 2017. He credits one of his now colleagues as being the one to open his eyes to law enforcement. He's hoping he can do the same for others. 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, July 29th. Shots fired at Livingston and Thornton. One man, age 43, hit in the torso. Right around the same time, a 44-year-old arrives at Albany Med, also shot in the torso. Officers find evidence of a shooting at Sherman and Robin Streets. Less than an hour later, another call for shots fired in the same area. Officers find 2 bullet casings on the ground, but no victim. On the scene for all three, 21-year-old Officer Jahmale Dickson. An Albany native, he grew up on the very streets he now patrols.
Growing up here, when nights like this happen, how do you feel about your city?
It's tough to see your city like that, you know, with the amount of gun violence and just people they just do crazy things.
Just as things are wrapping up at the third call, we're off to a fourth. Lights and sirens on, we're heading to First and Lexington, where another man was shot in the abdomen. Here, a crowd of onlookers taunts the officers charged with securing the scene. Jahmale keeps his focus and tries to de-escalate the situation.
Have you had people shout things at you or say things to you when you're out and you're working about being a black officer right now?
Oh yeah, I'm sure every black officer has gotten it. You know, you get the names, you get traitor, you get all of that. But little do they know, most of these black officers that are here were from here, you know, so we're just doing a job.
In all, 4 people were shot on this night, one of the most violent in his career. Earlier in the day, our cameras were rolling when he checked in for his 4 to midnight shift. He's wanted to be a cop since he was just 12 years old. Eye on the prize, he stayed busy and out of trouble.
Well, my group of friends, we chose to go to the Y every day. Every day we would link up and we would go swimming, we'd play basketball.
Sadly, that Y is now closed, and the Albany Jahmale loves has been thrust into one of the most violent times in recent history. In the first 6 months since graduating the police academy, he's seen the Black Lives Matter movement kick into high gear following the death of George Floyd. There's been rioting and protests and calls to defund police.
What's it like to be a black cop right now?
You see what's going on and you're literally, you're caught in the middle of it, because on the one hand I am law enforcement, but at the other end, when I go home, I'm a black man.
You lost friends.
Yeah.
What was the reason?
Because I became a cop. You know, I'm talking friends that I've grown up with, you know, from little, I mean, running around the neighborhoods, you know, really close friends. The moment I became a cop, it was like, nah, can't be friends with you.
Amid the unrest and coronavirus pandemic, gun violence has spiked all across the country. Here in Albany, the number of shooting victims is up more than 250% over last year, with many of the victims Jahmale's age or even younger.
Do you think we can get past what we've seen in the last 2 months now?
I think so. We have to have stuff available for everyone to do.
When asked where he sees himself 20 years from now, Jahmale says he'll still be in uniform in a community-based position. Even with all that's been going on, he has no regrets in following his dream.
I think this job is amazing. I think that anyone, if you have a problem with law enforcement, take the test. be that change.
And a final note about Jahmale. 2 days before he graduated from the police academy, he was at the hospital for the birth of his son. Now an officer, a black man, and a father. His mission to make Albany a safer, more peaceful place is even greater. Jim?
Thanks very much, Jackie.